Alright, these are the quiz corrections for Math 3, quiz number 16. This was in Chapter 12 on sections. I made up a section called Zero, Simplifying Radicals 1 and 2. For question number 1, it says, I'll read the directions, show all your work, and box your answers. Some of you guys need to work on boxing your answers so I can clearly see what you're talking about. Number 1, Kazoo drew the line segment EF on the coordinate plane. So there's E and F. Determine the distance between the points E and F. Well, first thing you need to do is get the coordinates. I have E here, which is right 4, up 3. So your coordinates are 4, 3. And F are go right 8, then up 10. So that's 8, 10. From here, I encourage you guys not to use the distance formula, but the Pythagorean Theorem. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. If you just count in your boxes here, you need to make some kind of right triangle. You can have drawn it over here like I did, or you can have drawn it up and to the right. You'll notice that your sides of your triangles are 4, and if you count up, this would be 7. So I labeled A to be 7, B equals 4. Across the right angle here, which I didn't draw, is your hypotenuse, C. You put it into the Pythagorean Theorem here. A was 7, so 7 squared is 49. Your B value is 4, so 4 squared is 16. And when you add those two together, you get 65. C squared equals 65. Now, a lot of students actually stopped right there. I gave you 3 points if you stopped if you told me C equals 65. To get rid of the power of 2, you have to take the square root of both sides. They're opposite, so they cancel, and all you're left with is just C. I meant to scribble that out. Equals the square root of 65. Remember, the definition of a square root is two identical numbers that multiply to be 65. So if you told me 65, it's incorrect. The number is probably something closer to 8. Now, if you did do the distance formula, let's see if I put it here. This is what it would look like with the distance formula. It's a lot larger. I don't want you to do it, but you can. D equals all of this. You have the two ordered pairs, and once you put it in, you'll realize that at the very end it looks like the Pythagorean Theorem. Square root of 65. Okay? Alright, if you need more time to copy, you can just watch the video after I post it after school. 1B. Using the graph above, translate line segment EF to the left 10 units. Label the image E prime F prime and get the coordinates of E prime F prime. Okay, so you were supposed to come up here and just move this over 10 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's F prime, negative 2, 10. And here, you can just move this one 10 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. E prime now has the coordinates of negative 6, positive 3. Now, if you didn't write any coordinates, I may have drawn an arrow pointing up, meaning you did have it, but you didn't write any of the coordinates. Okay? So remember, the quiz is about your knowledge. So it's not me guessing, oh, do you know what the order pairs are? Okay? Be very obvious. So one way of getting translation is just counting by the graph. Now a second way of finding that is creating a rule. The rule on the x-axis means going left or right. In this case it says left 10 units, so I can do all of the x coordinates minus 10. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. On the y coordinates you're not doing anything because it doesn't tell you to move up or down, so it remains the same. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Y plus 10 plus 0 is still 10. Question 1B. Using the graph of... Oh, no, that's 1B. 1C. Find M, the midpoint of EF. The coordinates of M are... The answer is 6, 6.5, or if you use 13 over 2, it's fine. Some students actually use the graph. Some students recognize, well, if I go right 2 and up 3, somewhere up there, probably 3.5, that will give you the midpoint. So in this problem, once you have your order pairs, label them x1, y1, x2, y2, you have the midpoint formula. Remember, you have your formula sheet for tomorrow. You're just going to put in those order pairs. You're going to add the x values together and divide by 2. You'll get 12 over 6, and 12 over 6 should be, 12 over 2. This should be a 2 right here. That's my mistake. And that simplifies to be 6. You add your y coordinates together, 3 and 10. 3 plus 10 gives you 13, and 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So look for those key words. This one is midpoint. 1b is the word translate. Let's go ahead and try question number 2. Triangle XYZ with the vertices 5, 4, y 3, -1, and z is 0, 2 is translated so that x prime is at 3, 1. State the coordinates of y prime and z prime. Remember, when it has no little ones there, this is the pre-image. Pre meaning before. This is what they've given you first. Then it tells us that they move the x coordinates. They move the x coordinate from 5, 4 to 3, 1. So what I did on the problem is I created a rule. Well, if this was the original order pair, 5, 4, and then it goes to 3, 1, I'm thinking, how do you go from 5 to 3? Well, you subtract 2. How do you go from a positive 4 to a 1? Well, you would have to subtract 3. So my rule is x minus 2, y minus 3. So all I have to do is go to, say, the y coordinate. I have a 3 here. If I subtract 2, I'm looking for a 1. -1 minus 3 would give me -4. And this is the only order pair. Now, you could have done that through the graph. I gave you graph paper here. Recognize it says graph paper provided but not graded. So it's kind of like scratch paper. Okay, I'm not grading anything on here, but some students did use some work there. Okay, on that side was worth 14 points. Go ahead and turn the page over. For question number 3, multiple choice, put the letter in the space provided. 11 to the power of 2 means 11 times 11, which would be 121a. The square root of 5 is about what number? I showed you guys how you can estimate square roots. So a number smaller than the square root of 5 is the square root of 4. A number larger than square root of 5 is the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3 times 3, or 3. And square root of 4 is 2. So it's between 2 and 3. And the closest number would have been D. C, square root of 144 is 12 times 12, so that's a pair and they can come out. The answer is D. You guys are allowed to use calculators, a regular calculator, not your smartphone. The square root of 25 is 25 times 25, and they're a pair, so they can come out, so that would be B. The Pythagorean Theorem, you're just looking for the values A, B, and C, so A squared times... Whoa. Ooh, D is incorrect. Class, why is D incorrect? That shows multiplication. I'm probably going to throw that question out. So I'll change on Aries to make it out of maybe 42. I would have chosen C as the best answer. H for the hypotenuse, but that could have been ambiguous, so I'll throw it out. F, the name of the side of the triangle opposite the right angle, that's called the hypotenuse. Question number 5. Which of the following describes the movement of a figure that is translated according to the rule? X coordinates go left and right, so it's minus, so that's left 7. The y coordinates go up and down. So plus 1 means up 1, so that means left 7 units, up 1 unit. That would be G. Question number 6. I know I have one above that. A large pine tree was struck by lightning and fell as shown in the diagram below. Which equation could be used to find the length of the fallen part of the tree? Now over here you should recognize that you have a right triangle and you have two sides of a right triangle, therefore you use the Pythagorean Theorem. But over here it's not looking for the answer, it's looking for only part of your work. So in a problem like this, just do the problem and then compare your work to what one of the answers are. C is x, so I just substitute that in there. A I made is 8 and B I made is 13. So I notice if I squared these, I would get 64 and then 169, and I could take the square root. But then when I looked over here, I recognized that they don't have anything simplified. So how do you get x or c by itself is if you take the square root of both sides, and inside the square root is 64 and 169, or that's 8 squared plus 13 squared. That's why it's b. So you're just applying the Pythagorean Theorem. Question number 4, a lot of students skipped it or just didn't do it. Name the coordinates of the vertices of the image after the following translation. Now it says take the ordered pair and do this rule to it. Go right 5 units and then down 7. Well, you're asking which of these coordinates. Well, in the answer it says p prime. So you would have to take p, and you're going to start with p has the order pair 7, 2. Well, if you start at 7 and you need to add 5, that would be 12. And if you subtract 2 minus 7, you'll get -5. 12, -5 is your correct answer. Some students thought, well, there's no graph paper. I saw some students actually extend the graph, which is a perfectly good idea. Question number 7. Sorry, it's kind of small. Let's see if I can do something better. ABC is a right triangle. The length of AB is 6 units, and the length of CB is 3 units. What is the length in units of AC? In this answer, you could have picked B or D, and I would have given you full credit. The reason why is when you draw the picture, BC could be the 3, and that 6 could be a long leg, or the 6 could be the hypotenuse. So depending on how you drew the picture, tells you the 2 different answers. And in that problem, you're just using the Pythagorean Theorem. So if you made 6 your hypotenuse, that would be 6 squared, which is 36. 3 squared is 9. Subtract 9, you get 27 equals AC. Take the square root of that. That's 9 times 3, and the square root of 9 is 3. The pairs of 3's come out. 3 radical 3. Or this side over here, which I didn't realize is the same thing as number 8. 6 squared is 36. 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 36 is 45. The square root of 45 is 3 radical 5. So again, you don't need both of these answers, just one. So question number 8 in more details is that the factors of 45 are 9 and 5. The factors of 9 are 3 and 3. So 3 times 3 times 5 equals 45. So the pair is a pair of 3's, they come out. The 5 doesn't have a pair, stays inside. Therefore your answer is 3 radical 5. And I'll quickly explain the let's see if I can get that back in there. The can fill in the blank squares so that each row and each column contain all the digits 1 to 4. Number cages repeat as long as they are not in the same row or column. Just to give you guys a heads up, I only put can-cans in quizzes, not tests. So I'm looking for all the freebies. This box has no plus, minus, multiplication, or division, so I'm going to put a 3 there because it says a 3. This one has a 1 there. I need 3 numbers that will add up to be 7. I put them in this order, 1, 4, and 2. Remember, you can always erase them if you need it. These 3 boxes is a cage. 3 numbers that add up to be 8, 2, 4, and 2. Remember, you can't put a 2 here because that would be repeating. 2 numbers that subtract to be 3. Remember, this is not -3, it's just 2 numbers that subtract. Over here I need 8, so that would be 3, 2, and 3. And 3 numbers that add up to be 8, I have 4, 3, and 1. You can always double check, and each